we are building an exam-based system that is common across all levels of education. So it doesn't matter whether you got it from a university or watching YouTube or reading blogs or reading the textbook on your own. We create the same high-level professional exams, similar to what you would take, or better than what you would take in a university course.
Hello, Mindplexers or community Mindplexers, and welcome to another episode of our podcast. I have as guest a very, very interesting entrepreneur, as well as a very interesting project that he's going to talk about. So, Tim O'Brien, I met him working in the Cardano community, and he was a very productive contributor there. I assume he still is, but now he is a productive member of SingularityNet as well, because he just submitted a proposal with this project actually. And he didn't tell me, but I have seen it. Because as a community member, I am of course interested in looking over the submissions for our deep funding. And as such, I invited him. Actually, I invited him before he submitted, and we just managed to get together now. So I am really happy, and welcome to the podcast team.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Yes.
having me.
Oh, so I'm so happy this is happening. And you are far away. I know, I realize it's pretty night where you are, and I really appreciate the effort which you are making to be with us today.
Oh,
And
sure.
tell us about, yourself, which, I mean, your trajectory is so interesting. And I don't disclose where you are unless you want to. I hope you will. But please tell us a bit about yourself, just introduce yourself to our community members, and if you want to tell us where you are also, what brought you there, the trajectory and
Sure,
everything, but
sure.
I'll
I
leave it
won't
on to
reveal
you.
the secret on this show.
Okay. Let's do it.
So I guess I would call myself a late bloomer. I was a senior software architect for 15 years, a long career, working with the enemy, the banks, not really the enemy, but around 2018, I think I really found my calling, and I really like building software, creating software ideas. I like being an entrepreneur. So I took my first startup in 2018. I took venture capital, but I looked around and I just saw how fast capital goes in the Valley. I was working at Google at the time. So I came to Vietnam and I formed a team here. Runway of that product that I started ran out, but I just continued to uh, stay with my team, and we continued to build. And we're kind of like
Can
we
I
work.
ask you, where did you come from to Vietnam? Where were you? Where? Maybe we
I
don't
was
have to start to where you were born, but where from did you come to Vietnam?
uh, so I was in California for a long time. I started in Orange County, and I used to fly all the way to New York for a week to work at the banks, and then fly back on Friday. But then I became sort of a Silicon Valley resident for real, and I started working in. I got the startup spirit,
A
and I
true,
started.
true hardcore entrepreneur, Silicon Valley entrepreneur. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think the idea we're working on now, it's called I Can Prove It. It has solid. It's getting buzz, what they call buzz right now. So I was started to thinking about like how do I establish what I know to others in an environment where there's a very high noise to signal ratio, which we all know is the social media world today. And this is kind of, I think everybody has uh, questioned how to actually take their knowledge, what they know, and share it with others so that they can start communities and they can start building together, or they can get a job. And with the advent of things like ChatGDP, AI, the ability to stand out will be much, much more difficult, because we're going to enter a world. It's a high noise to signal ratio now. We're going to enter a world where there's a much, much higher noise to signal ratio. So how are we going to, let's say, reach out to an employer, reach out to maybe a club, anyone, and show that we possess certain knowledge or abilities?
Okay,
So
so let me back up a bit, yes, because of course, and this is as you mentioned, whatever you can prove, I don't know, but I want to clarify a bit for our people,
sure.
for our listeners here, what this is actually about. Um, so as I see it, it's not necessarily a social media thing. It is
No,
more
no,
of a, just a second. It is more of a, of a, I would say a revolutionary education project. So I think what you are doing is really revolutionizing education, but of course it goes all into our skills and our reputation and what we say. And so practically you can, we can remove the CVs or whatever diplomas or everything there, if we can
yeah,
prove that we can do the job. And this is so useful right now. When
yeah,
number one, education is becoming much more personalized.
mm,
Number two, uh, the people, I mean, from the mechanical turk to I mean, people are hiring, and especially now with decentralization and so on, even communities, yes,
mhm,
I need a skill now, and maybe I need it for a short time, and you can prove that that I have this skill.
yeah,
And I think this is so amazing, because I this was some of my older dream, and it's related to this self-organizing systems and self-organizing communities, where actually it's very ad hoc, very yeah, changes very dynamically. And okay, now I will need these skills maybe for 2 3 months, then I will need another skill, and where do I look for it and how do I find it? And I think that's probably the connection with social media. Let me just add one more thing here.
yep.
I want to say how much I praise your project. And I really need to say it, because I'm a university professor. I've
I
been in
appreciate it.
education, in the educational system all my life. And of course, that system is all about reputation through your diploma, right? Reputation
Right.
through your grades, not reputation through what you actually know. And I must say
Yeah.
that I hired many students or with diplomas for my, laboratory, and I'm sorry to say, many of them were not able to do the job. And I assume this is also happening in the real world. I hope not too much, but the education system starts to become really obsolete and not useful anymore. And I really appreciate what you do. Like, yes, prove it, not just show me a
Yeah.
CV which who knows who edited, so I like it, but just
Yeah.
by the face of it. Prove that you know to do the skill. So sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say these things, like what you're actually doing is much bigger than people proving their skills.
It
So
is.
you're
Yeah.
you're changing the world with this project. So thank
And
you so much.
thank you for saying that. Mihaela, a strange kind of twist to this journey happened when I started talking to university professors and schools to learn about how one measures one's knowledge, one's abilities, because psychology has come so far. We can really pinpoint if somebody takes an exam and they fail it. It's not just, oh, I'm not good at physics, or I'm not good at it. We can see what attributes that they lacked on and where they can remediate. And I started to talk to university professors, and to schools about how to build these tests. And their feedback to me is like, if you can build this product, I need it, because building these tests is so difficult and grading
That
them.
was my feedback as well. As I told you when I heard first, I was like, I want this.
Yeah, yeah, and specifically, people like we're talking to people who are like running educational programs in disadvantaged areas like the Bronx uh, and northern Texas, and there is very critical. First of all, the not all teachers even they definitely don't have the time to create these types of exams, these thorough analytic exams, and grade them, but they also a lot of them don't have the background to know how to create those exams. So this is an area where it's very critical to identify students who start to fail before they go all the way off, and also it's very critical to be able to have some analytics across classes, across teachers, across classrooms, which, by the way, the university professors also said that this is great because this means universities can establish a single sort of leveling playing ground where they can then assess which are the good classes, which are the good textbooks, and who are the effective teachers.
Amazing. Okay,
So,
okay, okay.
so
So I will have to back up again
yeah,
because I think, probably our listeners are even more curious now. Okay, so what is this about? What is the product about? How does it work? I understand what it does, you know,
sure,
but I would like to know because, of course, I mean, you submitted a proposal to our
yeah,
to Singularity Net. I mean, we're building the Singularity, man. I mean, are you using AI at all? And if so, how? And I have so many questions, but I'll let you start with whatever point you want to tell us a bit more about the product itself. So
yes, sure. So when you think about an exam or a test, there are many levels of it. You can say, okay, I can go take a Python course or this course, and I will take a test and I will get a certificate. That doesn't really carry much weight because there is no science behind the exams, and we are building an exam based system that is common across all uh, levels of education. So it doesn't matter whether you got it from a university or watching YouTube or reading blogs or reading the textbook on your own. We create the same high level professional exams, similar to what you would take, or better than what you would take in a university course. And then if you
and if I may, just to clarify, and this is for particular disciplines, not necessarily for like all the exams which we are forced to, which we are tortured with in university.
well,
Yes.
here's I think the real kicker, the value proposition. That's that we can set these exams up very quickly on almost any material, on almost any subject. And if we see a massive job disruption, which many people think we will see, there will be many people. First of all, university courses will be too costly for most people to reskill. But more than that, people will be reskilling in areas that are non traditional because the areas where they may have been working may have been disrupted. So this can handle, first of all, it scales immensely. As much as somebody out there wants to read a book or take a tutor or be tutored in a subject, uh, then they can take the same exams and get the same level of authenticity behind their exam, behind their work that they would if they took a very expensive university course. But the only requirement is that we have some material on that topic, on that subject. So could be
So my question was actually, okay, so let's say for this job I need Python and Java and so on. Okay, I'm not interested if you took whatever math or
yeah,
whatever history
yeah,
at university. Yes, I
yeah,
will only test you with, or I only want the proofs that you
mhm,
know Java and Python, right? So that
yeah.
was my question. So you do not need all that baggage of that makes up for a diploma.
There's
You
no
only need, okay, okay.
there's no
So we
curriculum.
eliminate the diploma
Yeah,
diplomas, right?
yeah.
Okay, amazing.
I mean, if somebody's teaching, like you have university level Python courses, we want comparability with taking
Mhm.
those courses,
But just
but
as a
we don't want
question,
the
I
whole
understood that.
curriculum.
As a
Yeah.
question though, so is this like, do I receive a certificate if I pass the exam? Or do I pass the exam in front of you if you are the one who's hiring me? Or how does this work? So I will have certificates to prove that I can do that, or I prove it in a certain, like I passed that exam when you want me to, or how does it work?
So we can proctor the exam. The technology is there today. It's used whenever when if you've ever anyone's ever done KYC. There's a process where they're looking into their camera, that they're taking a picture, and they
Okay,
can
so what
tell.
means I can prove it? In fact, what does it mean? I no, or not necessarily what does it mean. How do I prove it? I show
Okay.
you the certificate. Let's say you are hiring me
Yes.
and you want Python. Okay, because you mentioned
Yes.
that. So
Yes.
then I show you the certificate and you will believe me? Or how can I prove it?
Okay. Sure.
That's
So
yeah.
you can take the exam and get a certificate. And this certificate is, it can be shared on a resume, it can be posted to LinkedIn. And then you want to look at from the other perspective. Like you're an employer, you're looking at a resume and you say, this guy took a Python course. But there are many Python courses and many certificates. It's a wild west out
Exactly.
there. We
Exactly.
don't know what he took. So, first of all, we have a lot of credibility comes from our people who vouch for our exams. But more than that, these exams have an advantage that college exams don't have. College exams or other exam systems, they have a question bank with 100 to 1,000 questions. So they have to be very careful who sees the questions and the answers. Otherwise, everybody will know the questions and answers, and everybody will be start taking the course, right? So because we have a near infinite question bank, we can create a link on their certificate, which if the individual allows, the person who's reading his resume can click on that link and see a report. And the report can include the questions and the answers were wrong, which questions were right and which were wrong, and some of the analytics we do, like why did this person have trouble remembering the question or the topic? Did he have a trouble applying his knowledge? Did he have trouble creating new things using
How
his
do you
knowledge?
determine that, if I may? I mean, this comes back to another question which I had as you were telling me
Yep.
this. So, does the time when the individual took the exam, I mean, is that stamped somewhere? Do I know if he took it 10 years ago, maybe he forgot, or if he took it 5 minutes ago? How do I know that? Or is it relevant at all? I mean,
So you get a certificate that looks much like the certificate you would hang on your wall, like a
okay,
university diploma.
with a
It
date and
has your
everything.
name.
Okay.
It has the advantage so somebody can, if it's digital, they can verify it. So they can send it to a site and we can tell if it's been modified or if it's a fraudulent. So it's tamper proof. And it's also, yeah. And
And
so,
how do you know if an individual? This is very interesting. What you mentioned, that I as a, let's say, or let's say now you are hiring me. Okay,
yeah.
so then you would know where I hesitated or where I had problems. How can you know that? I mean, How can you know that from a certificate?
So
From the report, I mean, you mentioned the report. Yeah.
yeah, so there's a lot of science behind it.
Oh, that's what
There's
I want to get to.
things
Okay.
like taxonomies, like how like we generate different questions, knowing ahead of time what we're testing.
Mm-hmm.
So a
Mm-hmm.
very advanced level usage of knowledge would be able to take existing knowledge and then apply it to a new problem they hadn't encountered before. Uh, and this would be typical of a postgrad or a doctorate students who are doing research.
Amazing.
Another level of question would be, can this person recall some information? Okay, the U.S. was Constitution was signed in this year. This is more like in primary schools. You remember things, but our exams start out with, can you remember? Can you apply? Can you yeah and
Amazing.
can you find if something's wrong?
And
And
how would
then,
you know?
well, the questions are framed such that they have to
Okay,
answer.
amazing. That's amazing. I must say,
Yeah,
yes.
so
As
it's
a professor, I
again,
couldn't phrase such questions. I need to work with a psychologist or something. That's amazing.
well, that's kind of all built into our system.
Oh wow.
There is a lot of research from psychologists and educators. They've come together and they know how to test somebody through
Okay.
multiple dimensions.
I
But
have
it's
I
hard to
one. Go
implement.
ahead. Go ahead. I
Yeah,
just cannot. I'm so antsy because I have so many questions.
yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so
Go ahead.
now let's say so it's working in the way you told me, and it can do all these magic things like
Yes.
okay where actually there's some gap in knowledge, but actually he could or she could make it, but okay, but we have to train this person more in this area, let's say, and you
Yeah.
detect that. The question is now, I mean, this is for the world, right? Is it done for a particular subject, for computer science, for history, or is it for everything? And if it is for everything, oh my god, I have so many. I will ask a few questions now. If it is for everything, how do you manage to do that? If it is, like, how can you know why? How can you know what the person who would hire, what skills they know? I mean, you really have to cover all your bases. What skills they are looking for. That's what I mean. Yeah. So
Mhm.
okay, go ahead. Whichever you want to answer. But
Okay. So the answer is it for the whole world? Yes and no. So
Mhm.
we don't want to discard everything that academia has built over the centuries uh, on sort of what is a base knowledge, what is a base
Is it
knowledge.
mainly for technical or
No,
still
no,
for?
could
Okay.
be anything, could be
Ah, okay.
history. But what we want to do is we want to take the material somebody has studied to learn what they had studied, find the same subjects in a uh, professionally written journal or book, and generate the questions for them based on uh, some material that's been reviewed by academics or by graduate students.
And can you do that for? I mean, for all the topics, or you are? I think that's where you probably use artificial intelligence or.
We all the way through we use artificial intelligence.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
yeah, and
artificial
I can more or
intelligence.
less see how. Yes, if I
Yeah,
envision
yeah, yeah.
this is a completely different way
Yeah.
of developing educational
This is
systems
all
and
AI.
tests and
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
amazing. Wow, wow, amazing, really amazing. And so explicitly, I refrained from reading your proposal because I wanted to be like a listener who
Okay.
actually, is curious about it. And I realize now that, I mean, this is really amazing. So, okay, so now maybe you can tell us a bit, if you can tell us a bit how AI is used and which is actually, in your opinion, the main pivotal way in which AI is used that was not done before you have developed this product?
Yeah.
Both,
So
how
we
is AI used, and then if there is something like that, I don't want to
uh,
keep
yeah.
you.
So you can't build a product like this without having what they call semantic understanding. So AI provides us with uh, semantic understanding, which means that you can associate sentences which use different words and maybe have different context, but which are related. You know, if I say I'm going to walk my dog or I'm going to run with my horse, those are very similar compared to I'm going to take a trip to Hawaii, right? So semantic similarity is key to this product. So what we can do is we can break the topic down to subtopics, basically build taxonomies, and then to generate the questions we can think semantically, not in terms of words. So everything like I don't know, how do I create these kinds of crystals in chemistry, or how do I run a cappuccino machine? Everything has a certain language neutral semantics, right? So we live in the semantic world, not in the world of words and verbiage that
That
has been
LLMs
historically
live in.
worked.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah.
I
And
agree.
by
That's
making
wonderful.
and by making semantic connections, let's say I watch a YouTube video, I can extract some semantic context about what this guy learned. I can find the same semantic context inside some textbooks or some blogs that AI has verified that these are current. They're not fraudulent. You know, they're not any blacklists. And then we can build the questions from that book on the same semantic topics that the user read, and in that way we can mine these documents, these for questions, and they match what the user read, whether they read a blog, uh, video, however they like to learn. They can go ahead and learn that way, and we can provide the exams from a qualified source.
This is so revolutionary. I cannot praise you enough for this. I mean, it's above. Definitely, I wouldn't have
Well,
imagined that.
I think I'm gonna be the first user of it. I would build it only for myself because,
I
you know,
envy
one of
you.
the
I want
forces
one
of
too.
one of the forces is the internet drives all content to free. This is one of the laws. So you can
Totally,
take any course from MIT, Harvard, uh,
totally.
Berkeley, wherever. There are courses out there, but they don't offer certificates. You have to pay an arm and a leg for certificates. So
Yes,
since
yes.
I think I can. A lot of us, probably most of your listeners, are continuous learners. And what's
Of course.
interesting is I think something like 97% of our knowledge is non-demonstrable. The only thing that really traces back to proving who we are, and it doesn't really, but it addresses that, is the university degree.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
most of
proving
us,
what we know, let's
yeah,
say, but even,
yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah. But 90,
Not who we
95,
are. I don't think who
yeah,
we are.
not who we are. Well, what we know, yeah. I
What
meant,
we know. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
I
but
hope I'm not my university degree, even not my PhD.
no,
We
no,
are
but
more.
yeah.
But yes, yes,
But
yes.
our learning, our progression, isn't has no way for us to prove it, for us to demonstrate it. And with this product, I think once we need to go into the job market, and
Amazing.
I don't think education should be defined by the job market, but when you think about a very competitive job market, you want to have everything that you know in some demonstrable form. uh, and this is one, and this is a way that you can uh, take this all this knowledge you have and make it and present it to an employer or a boss or a club or whoever.
All the knowledge. Wow,
All the
that's
knowledge,
amazing.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Because you are correct. I agree. Yes, I mean, my diplomas, and that's why I say it doesn't prove who I am.
No,
I
no,
know
no. I
much
didn't
more
mean to
than
say
my
the word.
diploma proves,
Yeah, yeah.
and okay, so but I don't think the employer would need all the knowledge unless they want. They won't need all the knowledge I know, right? They would need some particular of, like, let's say, a section of my knowledge.
Yes.
So how do you deal with that?
So, and that is a question we've pondered and we have a solution for.
Okay.
So, obviously, even if you have all these certificates and you wanted to share them, putting 100 certificates on a resume is not very,
I'm like, I don't want
you
to
have
see,
two
as an
pages.
employer, to see all that. No, less is more. Yes.
So, underneath our product is something called the decentralized ID, the DID system. So certificates are part of the DID system. We, by the way, we have used this system for land registries. We've used it for international trade. We've used it for payment systems. So now we're using it to trace these digital certificates. And what they allow is sort of the attachment of like to your profile. You can attach certain, uh, you can attach certificate information. So that allows you to generate a visual certificate, what's called a visual presentation of your certificate. And you can assemble what you
Wow.
want on that certificate. So it
And
doesn't
how
have to
can you
be
show
every.
it on your phone, or how would this work on
So
this visual?
it has a skeuomorphic representation of a certificate, a digital certificate with your name, a seal, and some of the topics that you covered. Uh,
So just a second. So it's like a photo on my phone. I can show it, or I can also attach it as an email, or
all of
how
the
would that?
above. Yeah, you
Okay,
could do that,
okay.
or you could put a link to it on your resume. You could put a
And it is
QR code.
proven, like, for example, it's not, as you mentioned in the beginning, which I just want to underline again, it's non-falsifiable because of the blockchain and how it's built, and this
Exactly, exactly.
okay,
It cannot, yeah,
amazing.
non-tamper. It's called tamper evident. Somebody can tamper it, but you know they tampered it. So
Yes, yes.
it's
So
like
you are so
non-tamper.
far in Vietnam because I'm just back from the European Identity Conference where
Oh, okay.
there were, yes, yes, and of course there were topics like related to identity and certificates and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So this is definitely, yes. I mean, I can understand that the certificate, you can prove it, but how do you? Let's say I have 1,000 certificates, because
Yes.
how much
Yes.
I know. Okay, and you want to hire me first, a
Uh-huh.
particular some particular skills which
Yeah.
will be very applicable to a certain project that you have, and maybe
Yeah.
some other people, Ben, wants to hire me for other skills for another project, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and then I can work on both, unless you want, no, you will be full-time here, and let's say full-time 3 months, and then Ben 2 months for full-time for that project.
Yeah.
How do I find the particular skills in 1,000 certificates to prove to you and to Ben, respectively, that I have those skills? Is it? How do I find the certificates?
So you can use our. We'll soon have a mobile app, but you can use our
Yeah,
web
yeah,
app
yeah.
for now.
Yeah, yeah, you
You
can
can-
tell me about what
yeah.
the future. We live in the future. My all
Oh,
my
okay.
questions are for the final product, not right now. Yes.
Yeah.
So
So you would have in your mobile app, you could sort and search by these credentials essentially that are attached to your profile. And then you can add them and build what's called a visual representation, which is a certificate with those skills that you're interested in. And you can put it on your resume or send email. If they click it, you can allow them to go to visit your profile, which will have each certificate, which is clickable, and you can see the questions, if you allow, you can see the questions and answers and the analytics.
So they can determine if I knew everything or if I hesitated and all that. I understand now. But
Yeah.
I'm still thinking, yeah, okay, so for us, because we are digital, let's say already acquainted with digital, I'm a professor of computer science, you are an entrepreneur, you built many other systems before, and so on. So for us, it's kind of goes without saying, a no-brainer that this is an amazing way to prove knowledge.
Hmm.
But you also worked, and I did as well, obviously, in universities, yes,
Yeah.
and you in banks. I mean, can you imagine someone in a bank being open to hire on this basis? So that's, I'm thinking, how do we deal with the challenge that the mental cost of our world is calibrated to only look at CV, at diploma, and hire by that, and it's they have the whole HR department, and what will happen to those? That's another one. Yeah, so this is a follow-up question. So
Yeah.
now, don't you think you will have a lot of obstacles? First of all, because you are dislocating those HRs. I mean, or maybe you transform them so they can actually look after the employees and take good care of them. But not, I mean, you are dislocating a lot of stuff, right? But now they are
Yeah.
also dislocated anyway because it's more or less automatic. So,
Well,
you got
yeah.
the idea, yes? Let me
Yeah.
know.
Okay. So I started looking into sort of the enterprise market for the product. And I was amazed because there's a lot of data that in order for a company to keep an employee, particularly Gen Zs, uh, they have to give them upward mobility. They have to show them that they are growing, their skills are increasing. They basically have to become an educator for their employees. And this is more than $1 trillion market. Uh, Amazon alone has invested more than $100 billion in education of employees. So this essentially a lot of the burden of schools and universities has been handed uh, to the enterprises
To the
and their
employer,
statistics,
yes.
the employer, and their statistics like almost two-thirds of Gen Z employees are thinking about leaving their current employer. And the number five reason that they're thinking of leaving the employer is because they don't see themselves progressing. They're not getting more educated. They're not increasing their knowledge. So that's right behind things like salary and environment. It's a huge factor. And it means that all the enterprises are focused on uh, technologies that can help them deliver that to their employees. And so in that way, we have an entry. Uh, so from there, I think quickly HR, other departments will adapt this kinds of technology.
And so you aim to work with the employers, like as you said, Amazon and so on, who would actually, in the end, want to keep their people number one, to
Yep,
educate them, to
that
retrain
they're
them,
building.
and like to determine and to detect uh,
Yep,
where the gaps are, right?
yep,
And you can see that. So I can get that definitely, because I mean, even if you have a university diploma, right? I mean, you have gaps. Everybody, each of us
hmm,
does, and I think that's giving people a chance for training, retraining, and also a chance to be the best they can be and to fulfill themselves. Yes, I mean, this is
yep,
exactly as you say with Gen Z. Okay,
yep.
now the next question is, what will happen to universities? What will happen to schools? If I do think the Gen Zs and the follow afterwards, yes, and later, will they still care about schools if they have this kind of system and employers are actually using those systems to hire people, to retrain them? and so on and so forth. So this is kind of, very related to
Yeah,
how the world is changing in the
very much so.
yes,
Well,
aftermath of AGI, right?
yeah.
So tell me, what do you think? What do you think? I'm like,
Yeah.
like almost getting the chills as a professor. I'm not practicing anymore, but still, I have many colleagues, right? And then I will have a follow on question, which is,
Sure.
yeah, okay, go ahead.
This is just my opinion, but I think this. I think the universities will go in the same direction as the banks with that depend on having branches and people coming in and seeing big marble thing. I think uh, the fact that so many universities have released their courseware into Commons shows, I guess, the first cracks in the wall, and I think we'll soon see universities being almost entirely remote, or maybe we will see people who have highly customized education programs, which is a good thing, and be able to use a product like ours to certify the knowledge they have, so we don't have everybody with the same degrees and the same on the same topics. uh, we have much more diversity where people pick the way they want to learn, what they want to learn, and get a sort of a unique profile. So one thing we're very conscious of here, we don't want to be like anti-university. So what we're working, uh, my co-founder Zagros, he's a tenured university professor,
Mhm.
and really what's happening is a lot of a lot of university professors, they don't have the security they used to. A lot of a lot of all this tuition students are paying is going to the administration building,
Yes.
and it's being
That's why I
used
left.
elsewhere.
Tenured, yes. So I had the security, but I don't need that kind of security,
Yeah,
with
exactly.
the foot of the administration on my neck. No, thank you. Not, that's not why. Yes,
Yeah.
why I chose academia.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
so
think that
true.
this gives the opportunity, the professor can connect directly with the students. The creator of the textbook or the publisher of the textbook can create, can sell it with exams, and then somebody who's skilled in that area can tutor it or teach it to a group of individuals, and then it's like the agora in Greece. We go back to this, people getting a reputation and people coming to them for learning, and
You
not
have
not
no
coming to
idea,
the
Tim,
institution.
how much. I mean, you have no idea because I never told you, but thanks God I have publications so I can prove it. How much, and I think also on some interviews, which are proof, I can prove it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have no idea how much, this fulfills one of my biggest dreams, and that is personalized education, but also as a
Mhm.
professor, because I was in the same situation. So when I left academia, I was thinking, yes, it's like I cannot take this. I mean, this
Yeah.
system which is oppressing. It's an oppressive system. It's not prone. It's not. Doesn't let you be inspired. For research, you need to be inspired, not oppressed. It's just the
Yeah.
opposite what they are doing.
Yeah.
Creativity, no, bye bye creativity and everything. You are swamped in forms and in signing contracts or whatever, and
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, just justifying this and that. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And then I was dreaming about a project, but this is, I left like more than 15 years ago. I was dreaming about um building exactly, not exactly, but something exactly to that effect. And I'm like, okay, so if I know these things, and now it was happening, and it is happening, as you know, even
Hmm.
independent of a university, I'm a professor. I should be certified to teach, obviously, and if it is within the framework of the university or by myself,
By yourself.
and
Exactly.
people and the students, and that mooch and so on, they have done that.
Yeah.
And if students will take this course, and many professors whose courses were so successful internationally, not within, they left Stanford and so on and so forth. So what you are doing here is really also responding, I mean, to a big, of course, I mean, you are, I feel revenged. Let's put it this way, against this administration, yes, monster, which is exactly the opposite of what academia should be, or university. But on the other side, I assume also teachers in high school probably are suffering.
All teachers
So
seem
we are
to suffer. Yeah.
disintermediating, at least the
That's exactly,
administration.
yeah.
Okay,
I think we will see whole new careers spawned by people who
amazing,
just teach directly their knowledge to students with no
of course, of course.
administration. And the
And
students walk away with the same credibility they would if they spent 30,000. That's another thing. Students are going bankrupt today just to get a bachelor's degree.
okay,
They're spending $100,000 that will curse them the rest of their life. So this is
this leads me to the next question.
okay.
How much is it to use your system? I mean, okay, so it must be some cost. No, now I can I can prove anything. I can learn by myself. I don't pay anybody except some books, which I
Yeah.
can also borrow from libraries, and then I can prove it. But for that, I assume someone is paying. The employer is paying. The
Uh-huh.
university which wants to use your system is paying, or I am paying, who want to prove to you that I have the knowledge.
I think my co-founder is an economics professor, so I think I'll leave him freedom to choose that. But I know the answer he gives is like we want to be like the Coca-Cola, where we want everybody to drink 1 can of Coca-Cola a month. And I don't approve of Coca-Cola, by the way.
I
Too much
don't approve
sugar.
of Coca
Please,
Cola, but I
nobody do
drink
it.
at least one a
Just
month because I
like
need it. Somehow I need
yeah,
it. My system is asking for it.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So we want like a lot of people to take, millions of people to take the test, not to charge a hefty fee for a small number of people who can take it. So
So,
for
so
the
it
end
is
user,
significantly less than a university degree. That's what you're telling me. Okay.
we're talking if you're end user, we're talking like $5 for taking it.
Yes.
So
I mean, you are touching so many again. Yes, buttons. Let's put it this way. For me and my career as a university professor, also, because I was trying to work with students who exactly have the particular skills for my project. And guess what? They are not in the same university where I am. They are all over the world. I just pick them and I meet them at conferences or wherever. Or online because they read my papers and they contact me, or I read their papers. Oh, I want to work with this person. And then the administration again. Oh no, they have to prove that they have these courses and these courses. You cannot take them to work on your project because they have to, equivalence of the whatever. Let's say if they are in Europe, they cannot come to the US except if they whatever do, like take 10 more courses. And those people, no, they are, geniuses. I need them for a particular very hard problem. And that is a PhD level problem, and they are interested to do a PhD with me and all that. And the administration said no, for whatever reason, right? They prove it that they know. They prove it, they publish, they are validated, but no. And as such, this is another thing which your system, not only for university, but of course, yeah, it's working. So as client, you would have employers, and you would also have, let's say, universities which can use this system in many ways, because I can see that, at least from what I understand, and I don't know his hidden intent. Your co-founder, as a professor, yes, tenured or whatever, the university professor, he may want to stay in university and then apply this system to improve the situation in universities with the students and with from the professor side as well as the student side. Is it true, or he is hoping this system will be the Trojan horse who will annihilate the universities and the administration?
No, for sure.
Okay.
He's not trying to annihilate universities. Again, he thinks,
Make them better, more
yes.
seamless, less bureaucratic, and
So yeah, exactly. I think we're out the gate. We'll be looking at universities and schools, and Zagros has already contacted a lot of universities that he's in a lot of conference, a lot of universities he's worked for. We've also, as I mentioned, we're talking to the schools, which is coming along very well. And I recently was giving a talk at the paperless contract in at the UN, and I ran into the head of education at Thailand, and he said, "I need this, and what you need this. Thai language is obviously not going to be easy for you, so let me adopt this and work this product, manage to sell this product in Thailand." So there's a lot of excitement within the academic world, and it's just easier because of the people that were because of Zagros, who's already connected with these people. It's easier if we start in the academic world and then move to the enterprise, and then eventually to the B2B2C uh, model, where we
yes.
then give it
Yes, of
directly to students.
course. And when you say yes, it's easier to start in the academic world. I mean, I've been teaching at several universities. I can tell
Uh-huh.
you, I would be afraid, as if I'm a professor in the university, to even start a discussion about your system, because I know, of course, the administration would oppose. It's like, are you crazy? I would just take it like maybe as a research project or something. So that's why I'm asking you, and of course, maybe I should ask your co-founder. I mean, what are the biggest challenges in actually running with this project and developing it for? I assume you're starting with academia, because that's what you said, or maybe he is helping you to overcome challenges and you didn't think about them. So, I
Yeah.
mean, is it so easy? Like you talk to Thailand and okay, let's give us this system. We don't need university anymore. So, and it's because translation, I don't think is the matter, because with AI you can do that.
You can do that
Yeah,
quite
so
easily.
that's
That's
not
true.
necessarily a big challenge in nowadays. And of
Yeah.
course, now you're tackling much bigger challenges with your system,
Yeah.
but the entrenched bureaucracies, I think, do you think they will just say yes, come, welcome, dislocate us?
Well, what's interesting is that although yes, there are bureaucracies, there are also
They will
acknowledgement
lose
of
their
the
job,
changes.
team, because of this
Um,
system.
they the we won't be the agent that makes them lose their job.
Okay,
It's
so they will have to
basically
transform their
internet.
job.
Yeah. In fact, we will be able to give them an alternative career path. It's the internet, the
Yes,
freedom of information. This is what's going to tear down universities. But uh, universities are very conscious of their deficits. They're very conscious that
yes. More and
people
more,
are
more and more.
graduating. In fact, it's coming back on them where people the cost of education keeps going up, but people who graduate with a bachelor's degree, they're like, I can't get a job. They're not marketable. There isn't. There needs to be a certain element of testing, of examinations, of rigor to
Yes,
education systems, so that graduating actually means something. And the same
exactly.
is true in all the school systems, right? You have these systems where students must pass, and then
In regimentation, it's like the army. You do
yeah,
this,
yes,
like,
yes. And you have
and
students
it's
like
not
half of them.
personalized. It's not, yes,
Yeah,
it's not
half of
fun.
students can't read, half of students
Yeah.
can't do math, and with this exam, I mean that to your question of how people are interested in adopting, there are a lot of people who are very sincere about fixing those problems in our education system. And
Very true.
fixing those education systems begins with testing, begins with having an honest assessment of where a student is and what they're learning, so that you can then remediate early. And rather than say, oh, this student reads, you can identify why this student isn't reading, what their level of reading really is, and then apply a solution. So within the educational framework, there are enough
So you
concern.
are
There's enough
helping
concern.
teachers, you are helping administrators, so you are actually making the educational system more suited and suitable to their own purpose, which is,
Absolutely.
yes, yes,
Why should a teacher be grading exams or
yes,
making exams instead of reading about who
sharing
is,
knowledge, or
yeah,
yes,
sharing knowledge, understanding who has what deficits, and
helping
addressing
students,
those
yes.
in the classroom. So this is a win-win for the teacher, the educator, and the student.
Amazing. You know, when you started, I think you started to describe the project and what you are building, and you referred to social media somehow. And I
Hmm.
would like to come back to that. We are almost at the end of our, but
Hmm.
I still wanted the clarification, because for me this is still an open. Because when you started about social media, then I said, okay, we're going too
Okay.
far. Let's back up. So, what is the connection with social media of what you do here?
Okay. So the bad news is this, that even today, one could create an AI agent that generated LinkedIn posts, Twitters, and could tweet and create posts on things you don't even know, that the person doesn't even know. They they could they could just pick any topic and look like an expert on that topic. And it's true today, but in a year they will be so amazing. So then, how we all talk about personal branding, but what is this going to do to uh, meeting people on the on social media? How do you know that they really published all those articles? You know, it could be on law, and you could think, oh, this person is a lawyer because he publishes such beautiful posts on law, but they're all created by ChatGDP. We are losing that. That's the last connection. We no longer really interact one on one and meet each other, but we know each other by our social posts, by our LinkedIn posts, our articles, our blogs. Without this, we truly know nothing about each other. Uh, and with I Can Prove It, you could, we're working on this concept. This is, so you could write a blog and you could have to take a test that you at least know the knowledge necessary to write that blog. You didn't just, you didn't just load
Wow.
up ChatGDP and say, write me an article about
Okay.
mining
Okay.
gold in Nevada. You know, you actually have to have the knowledge to have written that article.
Yes. Yes. I
So
assume in Vietnam it's called Chat GDP. You know, on my planet is Chat GPT. Just for our listeners. Yes. So,
okay,
so
okay,
GPT. Okay.
okay,
Just
okay, yeah,
so
yeah,
so yeah, and you are used to, of course, you
yeah,
are there. So okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah, no, but I definitely see the so it's authentication of my
yeah.
knowledge. Really, I can prove it, and that is very important in our
And
day
I
and
made
age. As you
a
say,
you,
cheating, fake news, fake everything, especially on
yeah,
social media. Now I get the point. So you are validating the information which is on social media, like, that is authentic and it's mine, and
yeah,
it's not Chat GPT created. Although it may be, I may work with Chat GPT, but I have to
sure.
prove that I also have the knowledge,
So
at least
you
to a
also
certain
have the
extent.
knowledge, and you will
Yes.
have certificates that, if
Yes.
anything else, okay, this guy passed a course on Greek history,
Amazing.
or
Wow,
or
wow,
law or
wow.
something.
So
So
now you see again. One more question I have. So from what age do you think, let's say, our children can start to use this system and get into that? Will it be that the people are going to be the first adopters, or the employers, the enterprise, the university? How do you think this will unfold once you unleash it in the world? Which I know it's going to be pretty soon.
yeah, I think it will go through the universities first because that will help us establish the credibility. They are the good
Yes,
test bed for us, right?
correct, correct.
And once it's become established in the university systems, then employers will respect it more, and then we'll also start working in schools, but
Amazing.
I don't think we'll start building. I don't think we'll start building the credentials for children when they're very young. What age? I'm not sure yet.
And from how things develop, I know. I mean, I believe because you didn't tell me long ago about it that you're still in the beginning with the project, more or less, and but you already told me that you are working with some universities, yes, and you mentioned Texas, you mentioned others. So when will we have it, or how? What is the progression? When will you have the first, let's say, prototype, or how soon can I use this? Now, let me know what is your roadmap in
I
terms of
will.
like, is it
I will give.
years, decades?
Uh, I will give you a prototype link. You can put with this blog. Uh, it will have
It's
Zagros
not a blog. This is a podcast. Yes, so we
podcast.
will post it with the podcast in
Yes,
the yeah. So our listeners know that they should look and click on the link
yes.
of the
We
prototype. That's
will.
amazing.
They will be
Wow.
able to take a course in economics. They will be able to test because Zagros is an economics professor. They will be
I
able to
cannot
take
wait because
a
I mean
course.
everybody is interested in
Exam in
economics.
that. Yeah, it's a good test bed. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it's ready. We have a. I would call it a beta. It's beyond a prototype now, and
Amazing. Congratulations.
thank
Wow.
you.
No, but because I mean, we spoke maybe 2 months ago or so. And so you've done a lot of progress. It's really, I appreciate so much. I mean, this is congratulations again. This is
Thank
really
you.
amazing,
I'll
amazing,
tell my
amazing.
team. I have a very talented team of 15
I
developers.
wanted to ask you,
They're
so is your team based in Vietnam or where is your team?
we're based in Vietnam. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me one, I hope it's the last one. One last question. So, how did you find your co-founder?
It was the most amazing story. I don't know
You
if
see, you have to share it.
I don't know if you believe the what they used to call synchronicity or something.
Yes,
The
I do very
vibes of
much.
it. I saw you like
Wow.
the LinkedIn post about this just the other
I
day.
mean, I'm an alchemist after all, right?
Yeah,
So,
okay.
chief alchemist. Of course, I believe in synchronicity.
So Zagros and I was working on a project that I was also been working on. I didn't know him, and I sent him the original document
Is the
describing
project a
how to
secret? Can
build
we
it.
know what project? Or, because I'm curious now.
It's not important. It's just
Okay, okay,
it's just a
okay.
project, yeah. But it turned out that Zagros had a lifelong commitment to sort of democratizing education. In fact, he had contributed to a video a couple decades ago that was just talking about how access to education is sort of how do I say, puts a ceiling on certain minority groups,
Yeah.
and
And
once
how did
you're
you start talking about education and all that when you met him on that project?
well, I gave him a draft of my white paper to review.
Wow.
Just
But
uh,
did you know that he was interested in that?
I had no idea whatsoever
Oh
he was
my
interested in
God.
this, and it was like he has been doing this for several decades, already.
Amazing.
So he's written papers on it. So yeah, he's been passionate advocate for different ways to democratize education. And he's like you said, he was looking for a solution, waiting for a solution. But
Yes.
fortunately, through these avant-garde technologies like AI and blockchain, the time has
Yes.
arrived. We have a solution to these problems.
Wow. So amazing. So amazing. Really, congratulations again. Yes, if
Thank you.
yeah, if you were closer, uh I would, yes, I mean, I want you on so many, in so many events where I am speaking. I will be in touch with you because this is so amazing and revolutionary, and it's like makes me feel that I live in the future, but also some of my wounds as a professor being
Yeah,
healed, yes, through
awesome. Great to hear
this
that.
work which you are doing. Congratulations again. And if you want to have some last words from our audience, um, if maybe
Sure.
invite them to go on the link, or whatever words you want to take that course. You choose. You choose. It's your words, not mine. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sure. So I would just I think this affects every individual. In fact, this challenge of trying to establish what they know uh, maybe goes back to the dawn of history and has affected every individual up to today. And I think if everybody just thinks about what they've learned, reading, watching YouTube videos, all the knowledge that they have, and how difficult it is to translate that knowledge into uh, the real world, into going to their boss and saying, I need a raise, or getting a new job, or
to prove that
joining
they have that
all.
knowledge,
Yeah.
yes.
So this product, I think, can help every single person out there, and I hope everybody. We do have a proposal on deep funding. So
I don't know
anybody who
if the
has
podcast will will come out before the
perhaps
voting
not,
ends. But
yeah,
even if not, I assume there will be more opportunities for your proposals,
sure,
other
sure,
proposals as you progress with the project. But in any case,
yeah.
definitely it's something commendable.
Thank you.
Again, yes, kudos, and thank you for sharing with our audience about your amazing work, team.
It's been a pleasure, and thanks again for having me on.